a few cybersecurity products. One is Data Resolve, the other is Desk Side. Then we are also into Mobisec, which happens to be an MDM company. We're into Halt DOS, which happens to be a WAF and a load balancing company. We do InstaSafe, we do Sonic Ball, we're into Excel Pro, we're into Cyber SRC. Well, there are quite a few other products also, but that detailing we can do a little later on a different call. And let's set the agenda straight. I would now request Romita to take charge of the call, and they may go ahead and do the presentation for with their team for InstaSafe today. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Shantanu, for the lovely introduction. I hope I'm audible.
Absolutely.
Great. So, good evening, everyone, and thank you for your time. Thank you for joining the call and coming here to listen to us. And this really matters a lot, as we are a team that is completely channel focused. So yes, this matters a lot. My name is Romita Das, and I head the channels and alliances for InstaSafe. InstaSafe is a cybersecurity brand, and I will give you a little more in depth, about what we do. Before that, let me introduce you to my colleagues, Mr. Avinash Ravipathy, who heads the pre-sales for InstaSafe. And I also have a lot more of my colleagues, but I can see Romali. Romali is a part of our marketing team. So thank you from the entire team for being here. Let me share my screen. Is it visible? Is my screen visible?
Yes, yes.
Great. So InstaSafe is a 12 plus year old organization founded by Mr. Satya Kumar Panda and co-founded by Mr. Prashant Goswami and Mr. Biju George. And as you can see on my screen, we are a leading brand serving about 150 plus customers. This is still an old data, couple of months old data, but let's say about 160 plus customers worldwide. And as we would like to say, about 500K plus endpoints is what we have secured so far. We are headquartered in Bangalore and US and Germany and UK. We have proudly been declared as the Security Product Company of the Year 2021. And also the 10th fastest growing technology company in India for 3 years in a row now by Deloitte. And we are also one of the recommended vendors of the ZTNA category for in Gartner Market Research Guide. And as you all know, G2 is also a great platform where software and cybersecurity vendors are recognized, and we are one of the high performer vendors in the ZTNA category for almost an year and a half now. Yeah, so that's a few accolades that we as a brand have acquired over the years. So these are a few of our, customers that we are already working with. So when you come to ITES, we have our biggest customers like Emphasis, WNS, Impulses, who have trusted on us and been with us over 10 years now. Same with logistics. Almost all the big brand names, let's say DTDC, Gati, All Cargo, are on InstaSafe. Retail, when you talk about retail, we have Sangeeta Mobile, Samsonite, and Relaxo Lifestyle. Most of the big names again there. Manufacturing, Pidilite, Asian Paints, Kirloskar, all the big names. And yes, financial services, as we all know, since we are a cybersecurity brand, securing accesses for many organizations. So definitely for financial organizations, our presence becomes inevitable. And as you can see, the logos are really big and wide, and we wish to increase it further with your help. Yes, LIC, iFin, Crazy Bee, Safe Finance, Max Life Insurance, Mirai Assets, all the big names are on InstaSafe. And again, proudly, most of our customers have trusted us over the years. And in the government sector, we have BSCS Yamuna, we have again LIC, we have the government of Odisha, we have the Kenyan Parliament. So these are few logos. So I would now like to move on and let Avinash talk about the product in detail. So over to you, Avinash, and thank you everyone once again. And we would look forward to work with you, with Frux Technologies. And yes, Shantanu and team, thank you for giving us the opportunity. Over to you, Avinash.
Thank you, Ramita. Thank you. Okay, good evening, everyone. I hope you are doing great today. So that's what the brief introduction what given by Romita is a complete verticals of customers where we are covering and what exactly our customers are using and what is InstaSafe is offering as a platform. Okay, so here InstaSafe provides a platform, and inside the particular platform, these are all the products we cover, and everything is interconnected, and everything can be all the products can be decoupled and provided. Right from your where we have started in the year 2012 with the VPN alternative and with the cloud VPN concept, and then we evolved to the ZTNA, and that is our major piece what we have built right from the scratch. And then when you have a traditional VPNs, you need to have a user authentication for that. So for that, we have built identity and access management. And when you have a user database with you, can we go and integrate with any other applications? So we have built a single sign-on. And when we have built a single sign-on, why can't we have a multi-factor authentication as an independent product? So we have multi-factor authentication inside. And when you have the user authentication and the application accessibility in a single tool, we can say the contextual access is the key to control who can access, what can access, and when can access, right? So this contextual access can be defined based on the user identity and the device identity. So that's where the contextual access has been given. And whenever the users are connected to the ZTNA, we enforce the endpoint controls like disabling the clipboard, disabling the print screen, whatnot. This kind of endpoint controls I will dwell into deep after some time. So this is the product offerings what InstaSafe does. So I hope you are very clear what we are offering. We are offering the ZTNA and multi-factor authentication, single sign-on, identity and access management solution, and the contextual access along with the. So these are the all put together. We can club into one product and we can provide. And if we want to decouple, we can decouple MFA and we can decouple the JTA, and the contextual access comes along with bundled with SSO, JTNA, and multi-factor authentication. And endpoint control is bundled with the JTNA, right? So this is how we offer the solutions. And if you say, Avinash, what is the JTNA? How exactly you are different from the JTNA with other players?
Before that, Avinash, if you can just help understand endpoint control. What is it exactly?
Yeah. Endpoint control is nothing but by it is like whenever your machine is connected to the ZTNA agent, we will be able to enforce the features of endpoint, like disabling the like DLT kind of a features, like disabling the print screen, disabling the restricting the user to use certain browser, and disabling the clipboard controls, and putting a watermark on the end user machine, so that if they take a photograph of the things also, then it will get noted down with their username. So that kind of a features covers the endpoint control.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that I hope that clarifies your query. So now, if you jump on what exactly the differentiator between the InstaSafe and other ZTNA providers, right? So if you see the right now the differentiator between other service providers and us is, first, primarily we don't touch the end user internet traffic at all, and second thing is we don't take data to the cloud, we will directly send the user traffic, end user application traffic directly to the gateway, which is deployed on the customer data center, right? So there is no man in the middle. So that is the reason the end-to-end encryption is not compromised anywhere, and you don't need to depend upon any third-party service providers, third-party cloud service providers where we are hosting, right? The controller, in question, there is a controller which is deployed on the deployed and will be available with the InstaSafe. And each and every time the agent establishes the connection, agent will authenticate and do the connection with the controller. And the controller will, in question, authenticate the user along with the configured identity and access management tool. At the same time, if they are integrated with the Active Directory, or else if they have integrated with any single sign-on solution, we can integrate. And if we have multi-factor authentication, and apart from that, we do verify the device identity. What is device? Let us say each and every user here right now, you are logging from your laptop or else your mobile. That is a device, right? So what if I say you can log into your application only which are approved by the organization? That means even though you have a username, even though you have a password, even though you have a multi-factor authentication code with you, you will not be able to log in from a personal device. That's what we are doing. That is called device binding. And administrator can allow multiple devices to the user. That is one thing we can do. And administrator can do auto approval of the device, and we can do manual approval of the device also. Both the workflows we have. So here, whatever we are establishing the tunnel towards the controller is, we call it as a control plane. And whatever the data plane which is establishing to the gateway, the tunnel which is establishing to the gateway, that is called the data plane. And this architecture is complete a zero trust, which is approved by the NIST and the CSC guidelines, right? So this is what created and published in the NIST and CSC guidelines, which we have, which is in principle with the zero trust architecture what they have. Any questions on this architecture?
I am definitely.
Hello. So, whenever this is, when I mentioned this is the architecture, I hope you have very clarity on the architecture. Now, what exactly you offer in the ZTNA? In the ZTNA, we have a features like, it is traditionally we can replace any VPNs of the customer. How to identify a ZTNA opportunity? If the customer is using any VPN, we can replace that. And we can do on-premise deployments and we can do cloud deployments also. Both the things is possible. And what are the features InstaSafe is offering? One is always on. What is this always on feature is? Let us say your customers might be, your customer employees might be working from home, and they want to control their machine policies from of the Active Directory or something like that, right? And if you want to provide that particular access always on, that is without a user intervention, the tunnel can be established directly to the server, and user will be able to access Active Directory. The machine will be able to access the Active Directory servers, and all the policies will be fledged. And this same always on will be helpful for your end users who are not tech savvy, guys. Avinash, every time they open the client, enter username, password, OTP, and all these things, this is going to be a very hectic problem. Can I do it only once and then can you make it always on? These kind of use cases also it will solve. Like right now, your NBFCs and all these things will use this particular use case. And we can use we can provide a split tunnel, full tunnel. And I mentioned in my previous architecture, I have a gateway which will be deployed at the customer data center. That particular VM will carry the firewall component, which is a drop-all firewall. And we do support the VoIP traffic also. And we can configure the autopilot as well. Windows autopilot, our solution can be used if your customers are using autopilot, if they are getting any devices from the directly manufacturer like Dell or else HP or something like that, we can inbuilt with them and we can coexist with the autopilot. And we support, our tool will help you to configure the Windows autopilot as well as a backend. So these are the alternatives. And when the ZTNA is this particular one. Coming to the identity and access management, We can integrate with any directory, right from your Active Directory, Azure AD, on-premise Active Directory, LDAP, your Google Workspaces, O365. We can import users directly from them. Authentication, we do support multiple protocols, right from the SAML, Radius, OAuth, OpenID, FIDO, and other things also. And we have an inbuilt multi-factor authentication. OTPs will be delivered over the email, over the SMS, or else the user have a choice to use any TOTP-based authenticators, or else if they have any biometrics that can be integrated as well. Like if the customer have a hardware token or else certificate-based authentication, that also can be integrated as a multi-factor authentication. We do support single sign-on for all the applications which are supporting the SAML, OAuth, and OpenID based applications. If there is any one or two applications which is not supported, we do support on a API approach also. And you can put all the policies based on the role and based on a user group which can be imported directly from the Active Directory. And we can do Active Directory self-password reset also. We can integrate that Active Directory with us, and we can do self-password reset as well. And we do support RDP and SH logins also. The same users which are created here that can be supported the RDP and SH access as well. And on the multi-factor aspect, we can integrate any VPN right from your FortiGate customer. If the customer is looking for any VPN solution, any MFA solution, we can go ahead and integrate with any MFA, any VPN. And we do support MFA methods like OTP over email, OTP over SMS, and TOTP and push notification, and hardware token based one. And we do support the FIDO protocol, FIDO enabled devices authentication also, like your YubiKey, or else if your device is having a touch ID or something like that, that also we can integrate. And we do support the multiple protocols for the MFA authentication like TechX, Radius, and SAML. And we can integrate MFA for the Windows logon and RDP logins also. And we have authenticator apps for Android and iOS, and at the same time, Windows, Mac, and Linux devices also we have authenticator apps. And here is the SSO. We support SAML, OAuth, OpenID, and Windows authentication with the Cadbra support also we can support. And this SAML, where and all this SSO will work. Any SaaS application customer is using, if all the SaaS applications are now SAML enabled, you can go and tell, sir, you need to maintain only one username and password that can be integrated with your application, that can provide your remote access, that can provide your endpoint controls, that can do a contextual access also. The one more use case you can go and mention, sir, your SaaS applications are accessed anywhere. We can block it only to access it from the trusted devices only. We can block that particular one. Right from your Salesforce, right from your Zoho, right from your Google, all the SaaS applications can be controlled to access only from the trusted devices. And here is the contextual access. What is contextual access? Right? The contextual access is knowing the user, where the user is logging from when, where, how the user is logging from, right? You can provide IP-based access. You can provide geolocation-based access. That means if this particular user, Avinash, can log in only from the Indian country. And this particular user, Mr. Shashank, can log in only from USA. And I have a Srivatsa, the user, logging in from the UAE. That kind of a controls you can keep when the user is logging into the authentication mechanism. And you can say time-based access. Time-based access is nothing but you can go and mention what time the user can log in. Either that can be your morning general shift. You can define the shift basically like general shift, shift 1, shift 2, shift 3, shift 4, or something like that. That you can define. And you can define the authentication access policy, access control policy also. And if the user have multiple devices allowed to log in, you can disable the multiple logins as well. Let us say this use case is like, let us say Srivatsa is there or else Avinash is there. They are logging from their personal device, laptop, or their mobile device. And the similar time, I don't want Avinash or else Srivatsa to log in from their computer. Yes, we can prevent that. This kind of contextual access we can provide, and all the access rules and application access will be provided based on this particular context. And here is the endpoint controls. Whenever the user agent is connected to the ZTNA, we can disable the clipboard controls. We can restrict which browser they can use. We can restrict which application they can access. That means, let us say, if your customer is telling block anydesk.exe, then we can block whenever they are connected to the ZTNA. we can block the USB devices also when they are connected to the ZTNA. And one more beautiful feature what we are providing to the end customers is if our agent is deployed, if they can deploy any MSI packages to their end devices altogether. This will help users. This will help users not to, or else administrator not to stress to deploy any packages to the end user machines. And the Chrome controls, you might be knowing everyone is the Google Chrome is the default browser right now, and you don't have any control. What we can do is whenever the user is connected to our ZTNA, InstaSafe ZTNA, we can put the controls like disable the dev tools, disable the downloads, disable the print preview, disable the print. All these options we can enable on the Chrome browser itself. So what will happen when we are enabling all this is this endpoint. The moment the user is disconnected to the ZTNA, all the controls will become normal. And whenever the user is connecting to the ZTNA, after connecting to the ZTNA, that means he is accessing your private application. That means he is accessing your sensitive application. So that we are putting all this particular control. That's what needed for the customers, what we understood from the market and what our customers are using till date. And for the third parties, whenever they access, let us say, this is a common practice, right? Let us say if you don't enable the screenshot, or else what we will do, we will take a mobile phone and take a photograph and send it over the WhatsApp or someone to share the data. That's a common practice everywhere. So what we did is right now we are enabling a watermark on the end user device. That means, let us say, if the data is leaked, we are not stopping the data leak. Once the data is went out, and if you know that okay, this data is been out, if you see the image, you will know from which user they have took this photograph. We are getting the accountability there. That's where this watermark protection will help you all the organizations. And this is typically the NBFCs and banks they use for their third-party workers when they are accessing the sensitive services, or else when they are accessing the PI data on the personal on the third-party devices. So these are all the features we have, and that's all from my end. If you have any questions, happy to address on the particular front. Any questions?
So do you guys have any PAM also along with this IDAM, identity and access management?
Okay, PAM, we don't have a PAM exactly. What we can do is RDP and SH access we can provide over our browser based, and then we can record the session, but we cannot restrict which commands to be executed.
Okay. Okay, and this endpoint control is mostly having endpoint DLP features, or is
Yes,
it more than that?
No, it's more of DLP features what I have shared.
Okay, thanks.
So, hi all, Tapesh here. So, any other information you would like to have in terms of InstaSafe, right, to go ahead with your customers?
I see there are 30 plus audience, and I expect some of the questions what you understood, so that it will be helpful for everyone. Your question might be small one or else big one. I'm happy to address, so that all the other audience also will be aware what exactly that will keep the tempo moving on the meeting. Please unmute yourself and ask questions so that will help everyone.
Any further questions?
No, I don't think if there are no questions, let's proceed.
Yeah, sure. So
Yeah,
thank you,
like I
Avinash.
don't have any question, but
Yeah.
it'll be great if you could share one of the not one but multiple use cases wherein how have we solved a particular problem in a particular industry type. So maybe that you'll do at the end of the session. I don't know, but yeah, that'll be great if you could share some use cases about certain companies, about certain financial institutions, how they resolved a certain problem using your solution.
Yeah. So let me share my screen again. I will reshare.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope you're able to view my screen now. Yeah. So all our case studies and the use cases are completely available on our website. And you can see on our resources page, you can go to the case studies and we have the case studies available here. Right from the government enterprises, BPM service provider, and manufacturing organization, and the fertilizer company and everything. And we can go ahead and see the challenges. So here is this particular customer, the fertilizer customer, having the SAP ERP, which is distributed and mostly accessible by the third party distributors, and but spread across the nation. So when they are giving the access to this particular application with the traditional VPNs, they are exposing their network and they don't have a control on how much they can control, how much the access the SAP, so in the SAP, how much data they are able to collect and all this stuff, right? So right from, so this is where we step in here to provide the solution. And we have given the user, whichever the user they have logging in for the VPN or else ZTNA connectivity for the SAP accessibility, that is binded to their particular device. And the second thing is we remove their public SAP server from public to private network. And we have encrypted end-to-end traffic between the end user to the SAP application. And there is no cloud involved here, and only the authentication module is with InstaSafe, right? And at the same time, we have deployed the endpoint control features so that if someone takes a report, downloads a report, and they will not be able to download whenever they are able to connect to the, when they connect, after connecting to the ZTNA, We will restrict them. They use only this particular browser, and we have enforced a certain endpoint control features like disabling, not able to access the any desk or screen sharing is disabled when they connected. This kind of controls we have enabled. So, and that's how we are securing their particular data and establishing a secure connectivity to their application as well. And this is one of the resource. And here is the similar resource for the a delivery organization, the logistics organization, where they have multiple endpoints which are spread across into the various warehouses, and where the challenge between here is basically to extend to make their applications private. They are not using any MPLS or else any sort of this thing, and they don't want to go with the MPLS because of the cost factor. So they don't want to go with the VPN also, but their VPN clients are not supported to the Linux environment which they are using, and they can't upgrade from that Linux to different one because of the cost factor again. So that's where we have stepped in and we have provided access to the Linux devices, right from the device binding and all the endpoint control features we have put, and then we have provided the access to the application, whatever the applications they are accessing, their ERP and everything. And with this, what they have done is all they have a centralized console where they can manage which user logged in, where they have logged in, how many applications they are accessing, how much time they have spent, and all these things kind of reports we are providing to them. And we are securing the application accessibility here, and the customer application is not moved from public to the private. And we have so, and apart from that, this is the resources page we have, and you can go ahead and see all of our resource center where we will give you all the.
I've shared the links in the chat box to our resource center and the case study link.
How InstaSafe, Zero Trust, and Legacy VPN. What is non-similarities between the both, and what are the key features and the benefits we have with InstaSafe, and multiple scenarios and use cases. Here we have this particular link. You can go ahead and use it for the use cases.
So, Mr. Samarth, I hope Avinash was able to answer your question.
Yes, certainly. Yeah, that was great. I'll check out the resource center as well.
Yeah. Look, it is plain. So what the thing is, we have our website is acting as a medium here, so you get all the resources, whatever you need in the website itself, and you don't need to. It is very detailed and non-super English, basically, I can say, so that everyone can understand it. Yeah.
It
So
works.
this,
It works.
yeah, and one more thing is you don't need to sign up, and it is available publicly.
Gotcha.
So, any other questions? Anyone? Yes. So once again, I think if we do not have any further questions, then we can wrap up this session. So thank you, Avinash, for such a lovely in detail explanation